Alright everyone, welcome back to Old School AOT, and we will be continuing with the epic Loki versus Oranos series between Sonic and Cyclone. Cyclone, of course, the Oranos expert, and Sonic, very much known for his Isis, but picking Loki against Cyclone because Oranos was just so very good with the fast mythic at this time in the Titan, So he just preferred to play Loki at this point. The game is going down on Alfheim, and back before they redid the maps, there were generally three types of Alfheim. There was the Alfheim that just had no hunt at all. There was the Alfheim that had a little bit of hunt, and then there was the Alfheim that just had tons of hunt. And this Alfheim, I would say, has like a little to medium amount of hunt. So Sonic does scout that he has a small hunt pile here, so he will be able to transition there. And he's going to get hunting dogs immediately in response to it. Whereas it looks like Cyclone, I don't see any economic guild, so he will be going for a 355 almost certainly, and just going for a really fast rush, which can be pretty tough for Loki on this map, just because there isn't all that much food to make your seer or to advance that quick. So we'll have to see what goes on here. Just to let everybody know too, I have recently investigated and set up live stream capabilities, so this should make it a lot easier for me to get my games out, just because I don't have to wait for like multiple hours for them to upload. So yeah, you should be seeing some more games on this channel now. And here we go. We have Cyclone. He's really walked a very long way, despite the fact that he seems to be going for a 3 minute and 55 seconds build. So it might be worth it. He does gather hunt from these elk much faster, but on the other hand, and deer, but on the other hand, he has had some idle time. So we'll have to see if he loses any, not idle time, but he's had some walking time when his villagers aren't gathering. So we'll have to see, if that affects his advance or not. I feel like it won't affect it all that much because he is gathering from double hunt, which is nice. So Sonic has got some pretty good scouting in, and he's really revealing a lot of the map. And we see that he is hunting here, but this hunt will run out soon. So that is annoying because I don't think it's... Well, he might have enough, actually, but it's sort of pushing it in terms of, like, getting to Classic quickly. And not getting to Classical Age on time, that can be quite frustrating, Particularly in this matchup where your opponent will almost certainly exploit you if you don't. Oh, that's really useless. 2 elk. He must be disappointed to see that, hoping for a full patch there. And we got relics, shingle of steel. What's over here? The sistrum and the Ankh of Ra. So pretty decent relics, actually. And the shingle of steel would be nice for Sonic to pick up early so he can defend this gold tower, because you can bet that Cyclone will just be pressuring like a motherfucker. And as we see, he is going up and going for that very quick Oranos strategy. So I'd imagine he will probably want to Valor his oracles, given the fact that his oracles are positioned rather forward. So he's just going to attempt to like attack the Loki player earlier and just strangle him. And Sonic, knowing this, is already walling up a little bit. He's going to try to deny an easy push onto the front of his base for Cyclone, but Cyclone is almost up, so that might be rather tough. We have the 1-2-2. Oh, with an idle. Yeah, it should be a 2-2-2. That's why I thought I'd check. Now it's back to a 2-2-2. Okay, so here we go. Cyclone is up. He only missed 3 seconds there, so I guess walking to that hunt actually was worth it, because 3 seconds is not all that much to miss on that build. It's not a big deal. And Sonic is just immediately getting down his walls, and in particular building a second wall here to try to prevent his opponent from doing that much of anything early on. So that's, it's kind of clever, actually. I'm impressed by that. So Sonic, quite a smart player, and we're really seeing it here. And Sonic should be up as well. He is up, but as we can see, substantially later. So he's going to try to use all of these walls to compensate for being up so late. And Cyclone's oracles will come around, but there's not going to be too much to attack at this point. However, that is a bit of a problem for Sonic, just because with the late advance and the low hunt in general, he's not going to be able to really hunt anymore. And you really want to be hunting much more than this is Loki. Like, it would be nice if he could hunt this patch somehow, but that's just not going to happen. So Cyclone got the double cracks out, and Terma are now on the way. And we see that he is making Prometheans as well. Little unusual against Loki, given that Prometheans are often not doing all that much. But hey, he's the Oranos expert, right? So yeah, taking out this tower. And of course, Sonic is now up. I wonder if he'll get towers up. No signs of tower upgrades yet, although he is fortifying them quite nicely. So Cyclone already has a relatively large army, so he has much more military units than our Norse opponent at this point. So let's just say Sonic is going to have to be in a very defensive position at this point. And yeah, there we go. The towers just came up. So he's certainly in a really defensive position. And Oranos has map control, but he really won't be able to move in here at this point. Men are coming down. No economic guild yet. So Cyclone will just have to play a waiting game for now. And attempt to get a good fight later on. No economic upgrades for Sonic other than the hunting dogs. And Cyclone, of course, has no economic upgrades either. So Sonic is almost playing this very Egyptian style in a way. As weird as that sounds, I mean, considering he was an Egypt player, I guess that's not that surprising, but this almost looks like an Egyptian player. On the other hand, given the fact, you know, that he's on a very low hunt map, you do have to play very defensive, so being an Egypt player actually might really be something that's to his advantage in this situation. And we see that Cyclone is now going for the forward town center, protecting it with his oracles and Prometheans, and just a group of Terma coming out here. Holophane's not out yet. Sonic will need to get that out before he can really do anything. And he is going to have to think about, you know, really massing up his military at this point. Because he can't just stay hidden in here forever. That's not going to work. Got the Dwarf auto queue on. I don't know why he's coming over here. He could make a hole, which would sort of render this whole fortification rather pointless, but okay. I expect him to gather wood from back here, but I don't know. Now, he does have a nice count of Herseers out, though. 10 Herseer. And that's actually quite a bit stronger than Cyclone's whole army right now, I feel. But Cyclone has pushed this town center out with 3 villagers. It's almost like he sensed that his opponent's military count was starting to grow, so he's just like, I better get this up quick. 1 Cairo Ballista out. Very vital, since he has absolutely no Murmillo as a result of his, you know, relatively early advance. Just, you don't have the best food income. Is continuing to hunt the hunt that he can get, though, so that's quite smart, quite intelligent. And the Herseer come out, and the Terma just bounce. They're like, oh, we can't handle that. So Sonic will continue to just make these Herseer out of this double temple combination, and there is the Hall of Thane. So now the Herseer are, you know, boosted and they're up to their full power. So he can now start to do something. It looks like he's going to go around for a raid, try to sneak around the side of the map, and see if he can't surprise our Oranos player. But Cyclone is smartly building villagers from 2 town centers, which means that it really won't be that long until he's able to get Murmillo production going. And definitely, once Oranos can get some really solid Murmillo production going, it can get a little tougher for Loki, right? Because Murmillo are just very effective against Herseer. And against pretty much any Loki unit, other than maybe like at least classical unit, other than Myth or the Axemen. Garrisoning that nice. And even then, the throwing Axemen well, it had less range than it does now. So it wasn't all that great, actually. You would see him being built, but it's a unit that, at least back in the day, when you would build it, you would often regret building it. Be like, why did I build this? You'd see it built as a desperation unit a lot of the time. People would start to lose, so they'd get out some emergency throwing axemen. It had its place, but it's a lot more powerful now. And you see it being used in like mainstream matchups due to the range and like the additional range given by the I forget what it's called, but the upgrade that also gives him some additional range and is available. Axe of Moosebell and is available in classical now as opposed to heroic. So this Terma will get surrounded and die. Not a big deal. It's just one Terma. One Terma isn't worth all that much. 90 resources or so. Considering Cyclone has been booming off 2 town centers, he shouldn't be worried about that. Let's see, has he got an economic? Nope, no economic guild yet. And that's a really weird sentry tower. I really don't know why he's doing this. That's really weird. Sonic's army coming over here. Marmillo production has started up, and Sonic is just going to try to... Ooh, this could be a brutal raid, actually. He could easily kill all 3 of these. And yeah, these are going to go down for sure. There's no way they can survive. There's just too many Herseer here. Very nice raid from Sonic. And Cyclone is definitely going to feel that one. Even with the 2 town center boom losing 3 citizens, it's like equivalent to at least like 9 citizens, I would say. I mean normal villagers. So quite painful when something like that happens. And Cyclone is now full population. As we see though, his production of citizens and also Marmillo has been, well, he turned off Marmillo, but it's been cut by the raid onto the food. So that was a very good raid from Sonic. However, Sonic is either going to need to think about going heroic himself soon or getting another town center or something. And as we see, really poor economic balance. Even though dwarves aren't the best, it might make sense to make some, cancel the Herseer, and try to age up at this point. Unless he's just going to fight full-on in classical. But at any rate, he's going to need some more food. Another town center would really help. So Sonic will be coming in for the fight here. And he's going to try to sort of surround these Cairo Ballista because they're like the #1 menace to him. And he is fighting under town center fire here, so I don't know. This fight not going well for a Loki player. Just fighting the Oranos in a very defensive position where all of his range units can fight and the Loki Herseer can't all fight. And the Cyclone also has enough Cairo Ballista off that he can like hold this pretty easily. And there we go. That was a horrible fight for Sonic, our expert. Yeah. I don't know. I do not like what he did there. He definitely should have just retained his army and gone heroic or taken the back town center or something, you know. He could have taken the back town center, gone heroic, moved out to here, taken this, and then he would be in a pretty decent position. But let's check out the KDR after that fight. Ugh. 24 of 13, almost a 2-to-1 KDR. So that fight really went against Sonic in a very bad manner. And he is going to try to establish control over this side, and he does have raiders out because he needs to do something about those Cairo Ballista. Cairo Ballista not great against Herseer, but they're good enough that like pure Herseer can be pretty bad against them. So Sonic recognizes that, and he's gotten a lot of raiders out. He's got quite a few trolls too. The upgrade for the trolls would be nice, but I guess he's investing into farms. And again, this economic balance really hurts because he could most likely be heroic now if he had managed his economy a bit better. And if he were in heroic, well, I think Cyclone would be much more scared than he is. And Cyclone pushing onto that 3rd town center now. He's going to be taking it for himself, and he's also taking his back. So we're about to be in a 4v1 town center situation, which is really not great for our poor Loki player.
Yo.
And I'm kind of surprised to see the really poor fight choice, because in game 1, the game on Highland, the previous game on the channel, we really saw that Sonic was very, very patient and careful with how he, Cyclone mining over here, with how he took his fights, where and when, waited for the right moment. Whereas it looks like here he might have just sort of panicked and committed to what was honestly a really bad fight. I mean, it's going to be very hard for him to come back at this point, particularly since he isn't going heroic or anything. But Cyclone isn't either, but he will be soon, I imagine. And there we go. He's just finished making the armory, so there you go. And with all the town centers that Oranos is on and all the defensive towers, I wonder if he was expecting like a flaming weapons attack or something, and that's why he built all those towers. But with all the towers Cyclone has put up, I just don't see that this classical army will be able to do anything, you know, considering the towers, the units. And Cyclone has a very high hero count right now, so these trolls aren't going to do anything, basically. Although, Cyclone's hero micro is pretty atrocious. Wasting their Mamillos, and finally the heroes are fighting a myth unit, finally. So that's good at least. However, even with the horrible hero micro, it really won't matter because Cyclone's position is just too strong, and of course he has started to respond and micro his heroes properly, and now they've gotten some damage to the myth units, which are just too few in number to win this fight against all these units from Cyclone. And Cyclone's now upping with Thea, so it's going to be very bad for Sonic. Sonic definitely should have just stopped making some units at some point and gone heroic, and the fact he didn't, it's really placed him at very low chances of winning this game, in my opinion. But what are you gonna do? Can't win them all. And as I stated like earlier, Loki's at the disadvantage on this kind of Alphine, you know. You don't have all that much hunt to get your Seer count and Raider count up early, so you just end up being defensive, and it's kind of tough. It is winnable, but against a really good Atlantean Oranos player like Cyclone, you're talking about a matchup that definitely is uphill, because he will be like upping your grill early and getting that map control and preventing you from, say, hunting the hunt that was over here, which you really would need to really get going properly. And now our Oranos player will be upping Mythic himself. And Sonic is still in the classical age. So at this point, yeah, he's going to have to face Tartarian Gate. And he doesn't even have a good army to face Tartarian Gate with. Yeah, I don't know about this, boys. That bird is going to be hard to deal with, although if Cyclone doesn't micro it, the trolls are able to take it down. But only due to poor micro from Cyclone. That's something that shouldn't happen. Your bird should never really be killed by trolls. Hammer Troll finished, which is quite a nice upgrade. I think I've talked about that before. It gives a lot of like extra survivability as well as damage to the trolls. So just very, very good upgrade for the troll. And, you know, I feel if the troll, like, if the movement speed was just a little bit faster, people would actually consider this unit to be really busted. It's just really only the slow movement speed that holds the troll back. Even if it was like up to like 4, I feel like that would make so much of a difference in terms of how effective the troll is. And there's the Tart Gate coming down into the main base of Sonic. And with that, well, Sonic is going to try to take it out with villagers, which he probably can, but he'll incur some heavy losses. And, yeah. His main army getting polished off here just by the large numbers of Kairos and other units. So you see the Lampades coming forward. He will be using that special. Yep, there goes a troll. So sort of a last-ditch fight at the front here. Valiant effort by the trolls, but they're not doing it. This was killed, so not bad. And Cyclone will, of course, be getting his patented Titan Gate, which he probably doesn't even really need. Second town center got taken, but I guess he just wants to mentally secure the game and make his opponent feel that there's absolutely no chances of winning at all. Which is not bad, considering how good of a player Sonic was. He might have looked a little bad this game, but I think he just kind of had an off game. And just committed to a really bad fight, and that was unfortunately the game right there. So anyway, let's get into Game 3. This game will, of course, be on Ghost Lake. And we will feature, once again, Sonic playing Loki versus Cyclone playing Oranos. And, well, this game ain't looking all that great for our Loki player. I gotta say, it's another relatively low hunt map, and Sonic will be coping with it by going for a double Ulfsark start, which will allow him to scout better and hopefully discover more pigs and discover the hunt, although there really aren't all that many pigs to discover here, so I'm already feeling pretty nervous for our Loki player. Our Oranos player will be able to go for a pretty standard. I'd imagine he's going to go for a 355. There's really no reason not to. It's just it's very good on a map like this. So I'd imagine we'll be seeing that. He does have some backish hunt, or side-ish, backside hunt. So that's nice. He'll be able to use that when he finds it. He has not found... Oh, he has found it. Okay. An Augsburg wagon, a pair of golden lions. Okay, not the best relics. Golden lions can help a little bit in this matchup, so that's worth getting, but the Augsburg wagon, that will rarely even come into play, so definitely wouldn't stress getting that. Let's check out Sonic's scouting pattern. So he does have the double Ulfsarks going around, and this will allow him to scout most of the map. But it's really quite unfortunate that they're... Well, he has managed to get a decent amount of goats just from his starting goats and what these goats he's bringing in and stuff. So, yeah, it was probably well worth it for him to go for the double Ulfsark, actually. And he is hunting over here now. I don't think he's gotten hunting... Oh, he has gotten hunting dogs, so interesting. Okay. Probably the right decision there, because he can move from over here to over here and just sort of gather those. So this is working out pretty well for him. He does have like a large amount of goats now, and he's got very good scouting on the map. The only thing is he's not going to be advancing all that fast, which could end up costing him. As Cyclone is already getting ready to advance, it looks like he's going for the pretty standard Atlantean 355 build. So this build got really popular back sort of around this time. People had been doing it, but Cyclone really started doing it a lot. And you know, in the meta of the time, when there were a lot of Norse players who didn't know how to handle it, and a lot of Egyptian players who were advancing super duper late, like 6 minutes plus. You know, in that meta, the Atlantean 355 was really quite good because you could just hit players before they expected to be hit. I mean, you see right over here, this is an expert level player, but he's put his temple in this really, really vulnerable place. And I don't think anybody would do this against an Atlantean player now, but things like this were relatively common back then.
Yo.
You know, I mean,
Yo.
Atlantean hadn't been out all that long, only like a year and a half or so. So people weren't as proficient in playing against them as they are now. So yeah, stuff like this. I predict that Cyclone will be coming right at this position, which is going to make it tough for a Loki player. However, that's some nice attack onto the Oracle. That's clever. Unfortunately, Cyclone did make another one. 2 counteracts coming up. And he will just run away here and oof. Oh, this is a late Heimdall advance. I don't know about this. I mean, was he planning to do some sort of a delayed rush here? I don't know. I don't know about this strategy right here. It's a little funny to me. It's too late for a rush, but I don't know. Maybe he was just planning. He's just planning to just make his units like normal, and then just go for some sort of big attack with Einherjar at some point. But yeah, gonna go for the Golden Lions, really, and he's just gonna give up this position completely, and that's really gonna hurt. He's gonna be housed. He only has 3 on wood. This is really gonna destroy his production. So that's not a good start to the game for our Loki player, not at all. Whereas Cyclone, they also feel Herseers without Hall of Thane's not a great unit unless like you're rushing hard.
Yo.
Unfortunately, but we'll have to see what happens. Interestingly, not producing Terma. Oh, there we go. He was saving up for a Cairo Ballista. So he is aware that Terma can really struggle in a straight-up fight against Herseer. So he's just making a Cairo Ballista early to try to control. And we do have Raiders coming out. Little Terma coming around here scouting. Just going to see that Sonic has a small army out. Cyclone's watching this hunt pile here. Very smart. Cyclone was always very good at things like that. Just making sure his opponents didn't get to expand without him knowing about it. And of course, a very good trait of good Atlantean players. Valor coming down, so this is a high hero count army. Which, there's only one Einherjar, so let's say that Cyclone will be prepared for Myth spawns at least. And so Cyclone, using his superior army size, is just going to come up here and attack the houses. And this is really tough, because I mean, can Sonic really even... Well, he may be able to fight him. He has a large count of raiders, so I guess he can sort of go around and flank these units. But he needs to, now he'll move his raiders around again, running away from the Promethean and trying to just sort of surround. And nasty little fight going down here. And, yeah. Huh. Sonic actually doing decently well, despite the fact that he was definitely behind at the start of the fight. So we're seeing the battle continue here, and both players are just continuing to send units in. Shockwave coming down and pushing those raiders away, but Cyclone will be forced to retreat. He's just lost too many units here. So Sonic had a nice fight there. Definitely held off the Atlantean player at the gates to his base. So not bad at all, but we see that Cyclone is starting to mix in the Murmillo. His economy has improved enough to the point where he can start to add those Murmillo in. So this game will become much tougher for Loki now, because of course those Murmillo are very good against Herseer as well as the raiding cavalry. And Cyclone's economy is continuing to grow, so he really shouldn't have any difficulties keeping Murmillo production up. And knowing this, he is going for a second military barracks. Sonic feels he has the advantage, and he's going to head out now. Although, I don't know. I'm not convinced this army is stronger just because there's already a lot of Mermillo in there, but we will be finding out shortly, I'd imagine. The Raiders coming around to try to flank his opponent's army, and they will sort of fail at the flank, but still get a little damage into the Terma. And now Sonic's army is retreating, and will he turn and fight? He sort of needs to... Yeah, ugh. It's unfortunate losing the troll the way it was grouped. Second Einherjar out, very nice. But he will just sort of be taking losses as he retreats, and now he's turning to fight. Cyclone needs to get his whole army engaged, flanking Raiders coming along, but he does need to target the Cairo Ballista. These need to move away from fighting Mermillo immediately. Very ineffective for Raiders to fight Mermillo. And yeah, he needs to take out that hero. It's vital because he's got so much of his military power. Take out this one as well because he has so much of his military power in the Einherjar. And at this point, like, that's the only thing that really is keeping Sonic in this game. He just has a very high Einherjar count right now. And that's enough to catapult him into the score lead, funnily enough. Even though, as we see, his military population is actually quite below Cyclone's. So very, very interesting to see. He's continuing to commit to Raiders. He's starting to transition into farms now, so that's tough. The farm transition is always rough for Norse. He has to do it relatively early too, just due to the fact that there's not much food. Doesn't want to go down here. That wouldn't end well. Looks like Cyclone has killed one of them. And Cyclone is just continuing to amass a, actually a pretty competent Atlantean army using 4 of the main units. So this is actually a pretty scary army. It's just rather large. And this army is pretty scary too. However, the Herseer count is super low, so he won't be able to summon anything during the fights, really. Most likely. And here we go, coming along. Cyclone's just going to push forward now. He wants to fight. He sort of knows that he needs to fight at some point. And taking advantage of his army being forward to start his second town center. Cyclone very much into building his town centers with more than one villager, which a lot of people say isn't efficient, but on the other hand, it also gets your town center up quicker, and Atlantean town centers build pretty darn slow with only one fatty on them. Fight going down here. Einherjar just dominating the fight. However, Sonic needs to take out that Turner hero, but all in all, Sonic actually doing quite well in that fight, and Cyclone did lose a lot of units there. However, as we see, despite losing a lot of units, he really is out-popping Sonic, and he's out-producing Sonic, so he's just able to flood out a new army, whereas, the slow-training Raider, Herseer, Einherjar army, it's just not popping out that fast, and as a result, despite killing a lot of the army, Cyclone now has a brand new army like that, whereas Sonic is far from having a brand new army, and I don't like this fight here for Sonic. I don't like it one little bit. He's completely outnumbered, and the fight is turning against him despite the high Einherjar count, because he just doesn't have too much else at this point. Even getting the Golden Lions coming in. Well, that's not good for a Loki player. That's very not good. Second town center fully up, of course. And that's a painful spot to be in. I think Sonic is out of this game at this point. He shouldn't have fought there. He needed to just come back into his town center and just build out his full army. But hey, it's easy to do. It's easy to get lured into a bad fight against Oranos, You'll watch it happen to players of all levels. And of course, that has been seen. And Cyclone goes to respond, but Sonic's immediately pulling his villagers back, and he doesn't really have any other choice. He can't leave them there to get massacred, right? So Cyclone just continuing to spam out the units. Is he upping heroic or anything? Nope, we have no heroic advance in sight. He's just isn't even booming fully yet. So Cyclone is just going to continue to stay in classical, and he's probably going to like try to aim for a gold control since Sonic's gold must be starting to run low. Yeah, only 800 gold left, so Sonic will have to fight for gold. And this is what I mean by the desperation throwing axemen. He needs units, and throwing axemen absolutely blow because they can just be sniped from back here by these units. But he needs units, so we're just getting some desperation units. You know, and with 9 range, that's pretty sad. Yeah, so here we go, the desperation throwing axemen. Well, I'm losing really bad. What can I make? Throwing axemen. Very common to see in the old patches. And here we are. Cyclone isn't even going to wait for the gold starve. For the mine to run out. He's just going to come in and fight on the gold mine and dare the Loki to come fight him with his army, which is pretty good considering like the Loki doesn't really have the army to fight him. So this is really bad, and Cyclone should shortly be winning this game. I don't think Sonic's army, even with the desperation throwing axemen, I don't think it has what it takes. He can possibly win this fight, but I don't think so. And even if he did win this fight, there's just going to be a whole new army spammed up immediately. And yeah, this fight's going against him. And there we go, the gold's run out, and Sonic is out of gold, so at this point, this is GG. He will be resigning shortly, and there we go, GG. So, definitely an interesting series, and, well, yeah, we do see, on one hand, why he picked Loki from the first game on Highland, but on the other hand, we see the dangers of picking a civilization that you don't really know how to play all that well against somebody who's playing their main and is good. Particularly in this game, we saw it. This was a really weird Heimdall strategy, and it just kind of set him up to lose the game, unfortunately. So, good games. I hope you guys enjoyed the series, and we'll catch you next time on Old School AOT.